Everybody, welcome back to the ATI podcast. We're here for episode 137. This week's guest, we're getting back to some St. Louis love. We have WILLEM DAFREND on the podcast. We have Joe, Craig, and Beers. How we doing, gents?
Good, man.
I'm all right. I just didn't know everybody else was going to have a cool fucking name. I'm a dumbass and I just put my actual name on here.
That's all right, hey, man. We always need a straight shooter to keep everybody in line, for sure, right?
Hopefully,
so that's your role tonight.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, gentlemen, I know you guys got a lot of exciting things in the works and been a band for a few years now, and you guys are holding it down in the St. Louis heavy scene, enjoying everything that I've seen so far and heard so far. So actually, I have not had the pleasure of seeing you guys live and hope to change that very soon, but it looks like you guys are one of those bands that can do it live also. So I always have a huge appreciation for that. I know there's a lot of videos on YouTube that I was fortunate enough to find of some live performances, and always got mad respect for the bands that can somehow even more impress me live. And it looks like you guys got that in spades.
Yeah, we like to bring it. Sometimes we don't sound as good as we want to sound, but we're doing high kicks and pushing people.
You sound good to us.
That's about it. Like for me, it's playing live is always, it's a lot more energy than, like the record can even provide, or like a practice or whatever. And it's fun to just get up there and just go bonkers up on stage as best as I can. I'm playing the drums,
First couple shows we played, after I played a couple shows, I was like, Joe, you're just a stick up there. Can you start moving a little bit? And he's turned it on since then. So I'm very proud of him.
Oh, good.
I'm not doing backflips off my stool or anything, but
I
also don't have time to do backflips off my stool.
Well, Joe, you're a busy man on the skins. That's my primary instrument. So, that's something I noticed right away. So, it's a little hard to get a little crazy sometimes when you get a lot of meter changes and, high BPMs. And so, Joe, I know you got to have some good cardio back there for sure.
I do all right.
Debatable.
Shut up, Mirza. I'm sorry, Beerza. I hope you legally change your name to that.
Yeah, we decided that this past weekend that we're legally changing his names to Beerza instead of Mirza.
I love it. It's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Especially with that cold water snack, for sure.
Right.
It's fit, for sure. It feels like
you drinking Bush Heavy, dog?
No. Cold snacks.
Yeah, cold snacks.
Boy.
Yeah.
I thought you were giving Bush like a fancy nickname.
Oh, I wish I was that bright. I wish I could have come up with it.
Yeah, I think this is the new Bush suit. This is like the new cool kid.
Oh yeah, we got to turn over a new leaf.
I think so.
It's pretty solid day drinking beer. I will give it that. Yeah,
I've
had it quite a few times myself.
I'll try any beer 15 or 17 times.
Yeah, I hear you.
One day.
Until you get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dial it in. What I always like to kind of start these conversations with is just kind of your initial music discovery, what brought you to music and your pursuit thereof, creating your own music. Curious to hear everybody's individual story. Joe, we'll get started with you, straight shooter.
Oh, how far back do you want to go?
Maybe give me like an initial profound memory of something that you heard and you were like, I want to do that. I want to be that person, or I want to kind of do what they do.
I can tell you this. I can tell you that from a very young age, I wanted to play the drums. And it was like 5th grade. I was like, yeah, I'm going to play drums. And then I was just like, I saw that drums meant playing the bells. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I'll play saxophone. And my parents were like, well, our neighbor has a clarinet. So I ended up playing the clarinet for a while. And then in middle school, I got into drums and finally convinced my parents to get me drum lessons. And from then on, it was trying to find anybody that would want to start a band. What are you guys laughing about?
Fucking clarinet.
Oh yeah, dude. I played clarinet, bass clarinet, and then finally moved over to percussion. Got drum
Dude.
lessons.
This dude was smoking skin balls, bro.
Story sucks, bro.
And yeah, it's just, so and I was never in any other band of like note or anything like that. I don't have like the prestige that Craig and Mirza do with his folk band he was in. But but no, it was just like it was always fun. I always enjoyed playing the drums, and so I just kept with it. And luckily, Craig was just like, "You want to start a hardcore?" Well, I asked Craig if he wanted to start a hardcore project, and then that's what happened. Yeah, I played the clarinet. Get over it.
I'm over it now. I'm over it now.
Well,
yeah.
we'll let Craig dry his tears. Beerza, how about you?
From like when I started playing music, it's weird. So like I was playing Need for Speed Most Wanted, right, in 2005, and I heard Bullet for My Valentine's Hand of Blood for the first time, and I was like, this is fucking sweet. It was like the first time that I ever heard heavy music, and I was like, this is super cool. So then I got on MySpace like 2-3 months later, like as any like 11-year-old would. I found like Trivium. Then I went into like finding bands like Norma Jean, stuff like that, just like the usual MySpace escapade. Then like over time, like I got into like deathcore, and then now finding like a post metal scene to like listening to ISIS, Gaza.
Good shit, pal.
Yeah, dude, Cave In, just like all over the place. Even Doom too, like a lot of Sleep, like High on Fire, Bell Witch, Resin, traditional metalcore stuff. Like Counterparts is one of my favorite bands. Just all those guys like kind of give like a little bit of a sprinkle into all the stuff that I listen to.
How about that Counterparts EP late last year?
Dude, so
Barn
fucking
burner.
sick.
That's
so
good shit.
sick, dude. Yeah, I learned like all the songs immediately because there was so many like weird like chord progressions and shit that I've never heard before. Like it was good. It was better than the fucking last full length too, which was crazy. I liked it a lot.
Super intense. Loved it. Craig, how about you?
I like Corey Hart and Depeche Mode.
Hey,
I'm not joking. I love that shit. That's all I literally listen to.
I was gonna say there's nothing wrong with Depeche Mode, man. That's one of the best.
I mean, when I crank on the tunes, it's always like 80s pop stuff. But but that's because I'm old and can't keep up anymore. There's too much music anymore. But I came up, in the emo screamo scene here in St. Louis, playing in bands and stuff. Love all that old stuff. I think we're all familiar with what was going on there. But yeah, like 5 years ago, Joe asked me if I wanted to, or was it 5 years? Probably 5 years when we first did our little video share
right
thing.
before the pandemic hit, whenever that
Yeah.
was.
And he was like starting a hardcore thing, and I was kind of doing not much with my band that I was in at the time, and I was like, well, I've never done vocals in a band other than like background stuff here and there, but I'm loud, and so I told Joe, I was like, well, send me whatever you guys are working on. So he sent me like a phone recording video of them, of him and completely other guys that were in a different band that are friends of mine as well. And they had written Local Legend, and that was the first video that or song that he sent me, or the riff of Local Legend. And so I wrote that song and just took the audio out of the video and plugged in my microphone and waited till the house was empty so I wouldn't embarrass myself, and screamed all over it and sent it back. And that was like, I don't know, 2019, 2018, something like that. And then we really didn't do anything with it for like a year or so. And then the pandemic hit and we got a little bored, and I said, hey, Joe, are we still going to do this thing? And then we started to get the kind of ball rolling. But that's really how this band started, aside from all of our origin stories and clarinets and trumpets and shit.
Yeah. All the Woodwind family. Yeah.
Anybody got an extra reed for my fucking saxophone?
Hey, here's the deal. I'm a much better clarinet player than I ever was a drummer.
I believe you.
Are you being for real?
We found out last week. Put anything long and skinny in front of him, he's fucking playing.
Oh, good Lord. Well, fellas, I don't know if you guys could speak to this. And maybe I'm reading the tea leaves too much here. I know, when the pandemic came around, of course, to me, this seems like to be a new injection of life into the heavy music scene and a desire for it. And I don't know if that's something that kind of helped propel you guys to get this together and move forward. But, I think that a lot of people have realized what they have or what they can have. And really to pursue stuff like this. So I don't know if you guys could speak to that further.
Well, for me, I mean, I feel like the music scene in St. Louis kind of got a little weird and a little stagnant, back in, 2010 and before that. It was awesome, like I moved to St. Louis in 1999 in my senior year in high school, and there were some really cool bands that were like getting signed and going on tour and releasing stuff on MTV and touring with awesome bands, and it was cool. It was really cool. And then like the emo thing started, and you had stuff like Kevin Gerdes, who had what was it, Amp STL, and they were throwing these massive shows at Mississippi Nights. STL Punk, which was social media before MySpace, and the music scene really benefited here in St. Louis. And then like around 2010, when MySpace kind of waned and it turned into whatever it turned into, all that kind of dissipated somewhat. And I still played in bands, and we were good bands with good musicians with, pedigree, if you will, history. No one would come. No one came to shows, no one promoted shows, no one tried to get you to a show. And so it got a little boring, I guess. I didn't realize until we started this band that there's this, the kids nowadays, and I call them kids because I am kind of old. They're doing this scene. They want to go to the tiny venue where there's 100 people and just beat the shit out of each other. And I, for one, am for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so I'm digging. I was, that's the biggest thing I was kind of surprised about, was how, okay, the scene didn't go away, it just kind of shifted, in my opinion. It feels that way to me.
Yeah, I agree. I know that, a place like the Sinkhole, for example, we were talking about that before we got on the recording tonight, and that is like one of my favorite venues. Pretty much if there's a show at the Sinkhole, I'm a band I'm moderately interested in, just for the atmosphere alone, I'm going to probably go to that show.
Mhm.
If I don't have something else going on. And as far as bigger venues, I'm not like really attracted to, when I was younger, kind of a, bigger venue, I guess it still yet is. I think it's like 1,200 cap or so it would be the Pageant. But, if there's a show going on at the Pageant, it almost kind of kills the vibe for me now, to go see a band there. It's kind of, I saw Speed play there in spring on the Knock Loose tour, and I'm like, man, I could just imagine this show actually at the Sinkhole instead, and how much more badass this would be,
Yeah.
People just,
it was cool.
yeah, it was still a good time, really good crowd, but again, it was just kind of weird to see a hardcore show in the Pageant. I mean, I remember I saw Converge, High on Fire, Mastodon, and Death Clock at the Pageant in like 2010, and Converge, I believe, no, High on Fire opened, then Converge played second, and it was bizarre to see either of those bands in the Pageant at the time. Even, I think that there's just kind of a venue for at least the type of music that I'm interested in seeing in those particular settings. Heavy music, you got to be amongst the people. I'm seeing a lot of that in your guys' live performances, as well as crowd engagement, telling them people to move their asses up front, all that stuff, be connected with the people. And that's kind of a part of what the music scene is to me, is being connected with people. There's a community there.
As far as the venues go, it's tough to put Knocked Loose in a venue smaller than the Pageant at this point. They've blown up that much.
Sure.
But you're right. Watching Knocked Loose from the balcony of the Pageant isn't the same experience of watching them at a floor show or something like that. As far as how we approach it, I feel like if you're gonna be at a show, be at a show. Don't stand in the back and fold your arms and just look around at people like you're too cool to fucking enjoy yourself. Mirza will tell you, before he actually joined the band, we were chatting at him we're chirping at him like, hey, you want to join the band? Like, and then he came to one of our shows. We did a floor show at Red Flag. They've been doing those floor shows here and there. And, it really squishes the room.
You kicked me in the fucking chest. What you did. You fucking drop kicked me. It was sick. I loved it. He saw me and he's like, hey, this guy, I know this guy.
Everybody. I was
he jumped up.
There was like a few people who were really trying to instigate some shit, and then everyone else was just standing around. So if anyone walked past me and wasn't participating, they got a drop kick.
Yeah,
there you
go. I think like the biggest thing too is like I feel like the energy of like the band also scales the energy of like the atmosphere that they're in. You know what I mean? It's like it's just like I've seen Knocked Loose at Foo Bar, like I've seen them at the Riff in Springfield, and it's just like not the same when you see them in the Pageant. And then like plus the same thing with us too. It's like it's everybody feeds off of each other like once they're like squished in. And there's like let's say there's like a couple hundred less people, it's almost like everybody benefits more off of that. You know what I mean? And that's just like way more enjoyable too. Like with the pageant, I like to see more like theatrical things. Like Meshuggah's coming. Like I would love to see them like in that atmosphere, but like a band like Knock Loose, I would love to see that in a more like intimate atmosphere for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got done playing in Columbia last weekend, and it was
Nice.
like this tiny record store called King Theodore's Records, and you couldn't put 50 people paid at the door, something like that, and they didn't fit. Awesome. It was awesome. People were crowd surfing, you know, everyone was really engaged. It was really, really cool. So, I mean, I'd rather have 50 people in that record store than 200 people in a 500 cap room.
I think I saw some clips from that, man. It did look absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
and I wasn't familiar with that. I used to play in Columbia quite a bit back in the day, but I always played places like Cafe Berlin, the bar downtown, Eastside Tavern, Rose Music Hall. Never played the Blue Note, but of course that's a pretty historical venue there. But kind of a smaller version of the pageant I would characterize as. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's sick that you guys got to play that place.
Yeah, that was cool. The Blue Fugue was an old one. I don't know if that's still around.
Yeah, the Blue Fugue. I remember that one. But that's sick that you guys went up to Columbia because there's a good little pocket of heavy music scene going on up there. Really good hardcore band, Lock Shut, from up there is getting very popular. I highly recommend them.
Yeah, tonight, Escuela Grind is playing at Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Escuela Grind, Lowest Life, and some other people are playing tonight. It's Escuela Grind right now was like, I mean, for the longest time, they took fucking over, dude. It was insane. Yeah, they're killing it.
It was either last summer or the summer before they played Sinkhole, and I missed it. It was like a weird Sunday, like one of those Sunday matinees. Like the show was like at 3 or 5 o'clock or something.
Yeah,
and that would have been sick to have seen them there.
Did you go to the mall show with Saw?
No, not from this past weekend. I've been to the last 2 mall shows. I heard it was packed. Oh, they're great.
Dude,
yeah,
I want to see malls so fucking bad. They're coming with the Acacia strain, I think.
Yes, they are. They are.
That's a huge show for them.
In May, I believe. Yeah, those guys are sick. They're fucking road dogs. Just absolutely one of the best bands. $20 Spin, good label. You know, a lot of good heavy bands on $20 Spin for sure.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about the new album for you guys. Now that came out in January, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 27th of January or the 17th. I can't remember. I had a 7 in it.
How I kind of caught on to what you guys were doing more recently was the fact that I guess I came across some Instagram reels you guys were doing in promotion of the album, and I think it had some footage maybe from you guys playing at Red Flag. I want to say I don't remember the venue.
We had was at Heavy Anchor, I think.
Okay. That sounds right. Actually, now that's got the Heavy Anchor painting in the background. Yeah. So, whenever I heard that, saw that clip, I should say, and saw the performance and, started checking out the album and stuff, immediately my mind went to kind of that mid 2000s kind of metalcore sound stuff that was a very formative time for me musically, and a lot of heavy bands that I would get into, bands like, Norma Jean, for example, things of that ilk. Not to say that you guys sound exactly like them, but certainly music that kind of hit a nostalgia note for me, I guess, if that makes sense. And I think you guys are tapping into that.
I don't think we would be upset with that comparison. Norma Jean's one of my favorite bands. I love that band. And so, that, I mean, I don't know if that's what we're going for, but
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I think it's one of those cases that maybe the inspirations or the influences are somewhat evident. It's coming out in various ways. Now, I wouldn't characterize what you're doing vocally, Craig, as that. In fact, I would, you're kind of implementing various things in your vocal range, but I would more liken it to somebody like Daryl from Glassjaw.
Don't toot his horn, man.
Never gonna hear the end of that.
Come on.
You don't hear it, man.
Fuck.
I'm gonna come to practice next week. Did you guys watch that?
You said that part in Glory Hole. You said that was like Glassjaw was like the biggest thing.
Yeah, we renamed it Anonymous Tips because I felt like Glory Hole was a little too overt. But I was like, this is exactly a rip from that song.
Yeah. Again, kind of the vocal wavering and things that you do. Really, the thing that I immediately thought of was like, oh, that's kind of a Daryl Palumbo type move there, and I can respect that, and I think that's something that people are going to really notice if they give you guys the time of day, check out your music, is the fact that, you know, the individual performances, you know, as a musician, that's something I'm always looking at. I try to pick apart the drums, pick apart the vocal part, the guitars, the bass, and really listen to the execution of the instruments and what they're playing. You know, bands in this genre, unfortunately, can kind of subscribe to a mode of, okay, I'm in my boat, I'm rowing, I'm playing my part, and sometimes they're not very cohesive, right? But there's a cohesion there on the new record that I feel like folks really need to pay attention to. And I think there's, you know, a real conservative effort to the songwriting that kind of speaks to you guys as musicians. Well, the new album I keep talking about, of course, is Old Ghosts, New Garments. Let's talk about the production on the album, guys. I know it's got 8 tracks on there. Where did you guys record the album at?
In this room.
Okay. Get a little setup there, Craig?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a professional at all, but you know, even back, you know, when Pro Tools was starting, you know, I was always curious, and old bands and stuff, I'd always try to pay attention, and got to a point where, you know, if we were working with a producer and he wanted to take a smoke break, I'd sit down and press the button, you know, to at least do the recording. So, you know, over time and years that I haven't been in bands, I'm always trying to scratch an itch. So I'll want to record and write some things. So over the years, I've just kind of become proficient with Pro Tools. You know, it's pretty cost effective if we don't have to go to a studio. So it made sense. I learned a lot on the record. We recorded it twice. So, you know, there was a lot of learning that happened because we went through the whole players changing. They're right in the middle of it. And so Joe had to bring his drums over twice. And, you know, we changed. Bass player started playing guitar, and he was like, well, I'm going to record guitars. And then we had a new bass player, and he wants to re-record the bass. And so I was like, well, I want to get in on this. So I recorded all the vocals, and
yeah,
but it was good. I think we, you know, definitely turned into a better record going through all that. But I, you know, hopefully don't have to do that again, because I think we did that on the first record too.
Did you mix and master everything yourself too, Craig?
I did on this one, yeah.
Talk to me about the album artwork. Is there specific inspiration behind that? How'd that come together for you?
Well, no,
Oh, dude.
The tune's about to be out.
All right,
Let's hear it.
it's about to be out, I guess.
Be honest.
I got to be honest. All right.
Let's hear it.
Well, when we started the band, you know, it was me, my buddy Pat, who I was in a different band with, In World, and Joe had reached out, and we were like, oh, we're gonna do this, and we were all bored, and I was like, well, Pat's gonna play guitar, and so he came along. Pat's in the same kind of music, and you know, we had that lineup. We went through a few different bass players through all that, but it worked for some years, and we got done, or we were nearly done recording the record, and Pat quit. And when he quit, it was like in his garage, and he was real grumpy. So the album's kind of an homage to that, because we re-recorded the record because of him quitting. And so I just, you know, it's supposed to be him sitting on a lawn chair just being grumpy in front of his.
Well, that's also like how he quit. Like we showed up and he was just sitting in the middle of his garage in a chair.
Yeah, and he really didn't have an
quit.
explanation for us. He was just being, you know, just get your stuff and get out. And we're like, oh, okay, because we were practicing at his house.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. Okay. Well,
studio.
That explains that for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up.
Hey, sorry. I didn't know I was going to be touching a nerve here.
Okay.
I got a way of doing that, though.
All good.
Well, the band's name is Willem Dafrend, obviously a play off of Willem Dafoe. So I'll just tell you, as an outsider looking at it, I thought, well, maybe this is like a old school Willem Dafoe look in the background, you know. So
yeah,
as a passerby, that is not what I thought it was. So
fair enough.
Yeah, so you guys are dodging that.
We do steal Willem Dafoe's likeness on a lot of things. We're just trying to get his attention, just so we can get a cease and desist, you know. And then we want to reply, well, will you just come to a show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's sleep in your bathroom, dude.
Say what?
Let's sleep in his bathroom, dude. I'll play a show in fucking Paris if I need to.
Well, then you can crow about getting a cease and desist from Willem Dafoe as well.
Exactly.
So there's that.
It would make us, you know, have
part of the lore.
10 more fans.
I would assume we're Willem Dafoe fans, maybe, and that's why we are using the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's a genius. He's a gift to all of us.
Absolutely. One of the best actors for sure.
Yeah.
Living today, without question. Favorite Willem Dafoe film or role?
Oh, man, for me, Boondock Saints, but there's a lot of good ones.
The Life Aquatic, hands down.
Love it.
There's so many to pick from.
Huh?
There's so many to pick from.
Oh, yeah.
I
No.
would.
Boondock Saints would be my number 2, though.
I like a good deep cut. So, and of course, I'm a huge David Lynch fan. So, Wild at Heart, Bobby Peru.
Oh, there
Guess
you go.
if you've never seen that, yeah, I highly recommend. He's an absolute fucking creep in that. So,
What was that real old one where it was kind of like a musical and he's like the leader of a biker gang? God, what was the name of that one? Was it
the one where he
Warriors?
like shows his like fucking schlong?
No.
Is that the one?
no, is it
no,
Cry?
I-
Is it
That's where you
Crybaby?
always go, Mirza.
Yes, Crybaby. That's the one.
Yeah,
Crybaby.
with Johnny
That's one.
Depp? That's a John Waters movie.
Yeah, that's
the
a
guy who
good one.
did Pink Flamingos did that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
IP Lynch, man. Fuck.
Have you guys seen the new Nosferatu movie?
I
Yeah,
have not
he's
yet.
No.
amazing.
Not yet.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's incredible in that as well. He's not in it as much as I would have thought that he would have been, oddly. I
Really?
don't know what I was expecting. I would say I don't know. I expected him to be in the entire movie, and he didn't really show up until about halfway through, I want to say.
I'm just like comparing it to like the fucking the the Gary Oldman Dracula movie. You know what I mean? Like in like the pacing of that movie, and I'm just like, all right, this like kind of
Yeah.
makes sense to like where he like gets thrown in.
Yeah,
But it's just
I
like
mean,
that. It's a weird movie.
it's definitely a combination of the original source material, of Nosferatu, the film of 1922, but also it is, I think it even says in the title credits, derivative of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which that Francis Ford Coppola one is Bram Stoker's Dracula as well. So, but
So
yeah,
you
man.
guys saying it's not as good as all the hype? Because I heard it was like
No, I
the
think
best
it was
movie.
my favorite movie of last year. I
Okay.
always do a year-end episode and cover my movies. Yeah, and
Okay.
that was number one for me. The Substance was number two. Very close second, but
Nice.
Substance is good.
I heard Substance was really hard to get through. Like it was like just tough to watch.
No, I don't think so. The last like 40 minutes of that fucking movie is like, it's batshit crazy, dude. It's like you're watching a fucking gore video or something. It's just
That's
absolute
hilarious.
insanity. It takes a turn.
Oh,
It's
that's fun.
it's one of those movies. It's just it's like, I think it's about 2.5 hours long, but it doesn't feel like it. It moves quick, and it's just absurd. And there's a lot of mystery around like what the substance is, and it's kind of leaves you guessing the entire time and where it's going to go. So it just holds your attention the whole time. Yeah,
All
great
right.
movie. Highly recommend.
I don't remember who I was watching. I was watching some sort of talk show or something, and they started talking about that movie, and it might have been Bill Maher, and he was like, "Yeah, not my thing. I couldn't get through it."
You gotta be in like The Fly and shit like that. It's like it's a huge
Sure.
like body horror movie. Like
You're
Got
exactly
it.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
if you like David Cronenberg movies, I think this will be right up your alley. Or
It's,
Brandon
his son's
Cronenberg's son.
name? Yes, I heard
Yeah.
he's got something cooking up, which is gonna be really good. But
Yeah, he's got some great movies as well. Infinity Pool, Antiviral. Love his work as well. Good shit.
Yeah,
You guys know more about movies than I do.
I was gonna say I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
I figured with the nods that I was seeing over there, Joe, that you were a little lost.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I just watched Avengers for the 17th time. Like it's great.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with comfort movies. Also, no shame here.
Get it.
I'm a
Yeah,
firm believer. You
get it.
like what you like. Own up to
Yeah.
that shit.
What do y'all think about that Terminator 2?
T2,
Classic.
the shit.
Absolute classic.
No, Joe hits me with some deep cuts, dude. Joe's
What?
got some deep cuts.
it's a
Joe
deep
knows
cut.
his anime and other kinds of
Yeah, dude, big time.
What are you into, Joe? Out of curiosity.
Oh, like cinema wise, like
Yeah,
movie,
let's
like
hear it.
show wise. Oh man, well, anime's like always been. I was like a loser in high school because I liked anime, and now anime is the biggest thing on the planet. So that's cool.
So
Um,
feature films like the Studio Ghibli stuff. You like
like,
Akira?
Like Akira is one of the all-time greats just
For
because
sure.
of the amount of work that went into that. Ghibli's really hit or miss for me, honestly. Like everybody like talks about how great like everything that they put out is, and I'm just they had some good ones. Princess Mononoke is great. Spirited Away was really good. I didn't really care for a lot of the other stuff though. But in my opinion, most animes are only good if they're like 26 episodes or less. Anything that goes on for like 1,000 episodes is just no good.
Dude,
You like the shows better than the feature films, Joe?
1,000,000%. If you look at like the top like 25 anime, they're all like 26 episodes or
Yeah.
less.
Like some of the best ones I've ever seen are like 6 episodes.
Easy, dude. Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop, Death
Mhm.
Note, like
Mhm.
Neon Genesis Evangelion. All of those are like cut short, sweet, out the door.
The
Yeah.
OG Voltron. I got you.
Oh, but yeah. I mean,
dude.
there's
Any
there's
love
a
for
couple
Speed Racer? Speed Racer?
Yeah.
That's an early
Great.
one. That's an early anime.
Peter is just cool.
But
yeah.
other than that, like I used to watch movies all the time. Like one of my all-time favorite movies is Walk Hard: The Story of Dewey Cox.
Oh God, I love that.
Probably the
It's
best.
non-habit forming. That's good shit.
Oh man,
That's funny.
there's so many good lines in that movie. You can't go and get double married, Dewey.
I think
give
that
it up. You're never gonna make it.
that is a grossly underrated comedy film. I feel
Oh
like.
my God, it's
Yeah.
fucking, it's genius.
Joe was
Tim-
reminding me about that movie here recently, and I've been meaning to revisit it because I only seen it one time, like
Oh
back
man,
when it came out. I remember just laughing my ass off.
dude,
But I need to revisit it.
one of the funniest bits in that whole movie is like right before he gets famous or whatever, and he's opening up for Elvis, and he meets Elvis backstage, but it's Jack White, and
Right.
you can't understand a single fucking word
No.
he's saying.
Not a
Can't-
thing.
Oh, Jack White, like
Yeah, Jack
Yeah.
White played Elvis in that movie.
The
Yeah.
Beatles part's hilarious also.
Oh, dude, the Beatles was. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, what was it?
Paul Rudd, Jason Schwartzman, Justin
Black.
Long, and Jack
Yeah.
Black.
And
that's great.
Mirza, have you never seen this movie?
no, dude, never.
Dude, sleep it,
buddy.
bro.
Got it.
It's so good.
Mandatory
I just, like,
watching.
Yeah, I feel like you should.
Well,
For
you,
sure.
you got to understand, Beers is about 20 years younger than us.
He's not that much younger than me.
I think I did the math earlier whenever he made a comment. 94, is that your birth year? Thereabouts?
Yeah,
96,
14 years
okay.
younger than I am.
yeah. But I think like me and Joe are 5 years apart, maybe.
89, baby.
89.
Jesus,
That's 7
dude.
years.
Jesus.
God.
I
Born
got the
year
two of you
Game
beat, but
Boy
I don't think I
Color.
got Craig beat.
What is this, a Grateful Dead cover band right now, dude? What the fuck am I in right now?
No, you would just be in the Grateful Dead because like Derek Trucks is like 30 years younger than everybody else in that fucking band, and they're all dying now. They're all like
Derek
80.
Trucks playing with Grateful Dead now?
He was for the longest time. I don't know if he is right this very minute, but yeah.
I almost bought this just baller poster off the wall when we were in Columbia at this record store. He had this
Dude.
huge, awesome Allman Brothers poster. It was
Nice.
it was so cool. But and I got drunk and I was like, how much you want for this? You know, and he was gonna knock it down to $200 off of 360, and I was like, man, I'm taking it. But I didn't have any cash, so we were like hustling T-shirts to make sure we could get $200 so we could buy this poster for me. And then we had the money, and then I went and looked at it closer, and Dwayne wasn't into it. It was Dickie Betts, and I was like, well, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I was
Really
like,
cool.
I don't know what the dynamic is of this poster. He's like, well, this guy's not in this fucking poster. And I'm like, dude,
Mirrors is
I'm
like,
drunk right now. I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Mirrors is like, who's the brothers?
Yeah, literally. I was like, who the fuck are the Almond Brothers?
It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
That's good. That's
It was
good.
fun, man.
But I
What
would
a
have
show.
bought it if Dwayne was in it.
Early Allman Brothers. It's hard
Dude,
to
yeah.
beat, man. A lot of good shit.
Derek
Whipping
Trucks was
Post,
great
I
when he
feel
was
that
in there.
shit. I love that.
Dude. Yeah.
I know you guys have an awesome show coming up very soon that we have to highlight, and you guys are playing with one of my all-time favorites, Darkest Hour. That's going to be a real treat in and of itself, right? We pumped about that at, I believe, at the Red Flag, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty geeked. That'll be our first kind of
big
show
show.
with a big national act who's coming through. And yeah, we're stoked. We love Darkest Hour. They've been around. I mean, they helped create this genre, you know. So we're stoked. I'm sure they won't watch our set and won't talk to us and all that, but it'll be fun anyway.
Hey,
Okay.
they're OGs,
I'll
man.
be like, dude, look at my guitar. I'm like, acknowledge it, please. I'm sure they will.
Those
They're-
guys are awesome. We're excited about it.
They're a band that's just kind of habitually in a sense kind of played those smaller venues, although they're more than capable to play the bigger ones. But they seem to, for whatever reason, didn't take off like the As I Lay Dyings and the various other bands that kind of came up at the same time as them. Not to say that I don't think they sound like them either. They're certainly more metal leaning in various ways, but that was a band that I would consider them kind of a gateway band for me, particularly when we were talking about those formative years of listening earlier. Undoing Ruin was an amazing album, and it's just one of my favorites of theirs as well. I think they're a band that's grossly underrated, so I'm really happy to see that you guys are getting a chance to play with them.
Man, I think like Darkest Hour is like one of those bands that if you haven't heard of like Death and Obituary and Entombed and guys like that, it's like this is like your opportunity to like get into that. Like it's like they're so like influenced by the like early '90s, like Swedish death metal sound, like At the Gates, stuff like
Definitely.
that. That it's such a good. They just do like such a good way of like mixing everything in to like having it appeal to everybody. I think it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, we're excited about it for sure.
I know a big part of what drew me to them as well was that they're a band that, when it comes to the screaming aspect, you can actually, make out what he's saying lyrically. I mean, Craig, I think that's something that you do well in your band as well. And that is you can actually understand the lyrics, so whenever you hear a good line, it kind of sinks its hooks into you a little bit more with a band and you're like wanting to check them out more, hear what else they have to say, like, oh, that line's witty there, or that line's meaningful there, or whatever the case is. And that's something that always stands out to me with heavier bands too. Not to sound like a fucking old guy yelling at the clouds, but like, have discernible lyrics, I think is something to really hang your hat on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't think any of my lyrics are particularly mind blowing, but they're pretty funny.
There's a lot of innuendo and things, that's it's catchy in that sense, and there's a place for that as well. So you can tell that you're having fun lyrically. And I think, once people get the spirit of what you guys are doing, I think it's perfectly acceptable. And, there's a place for that.
I think we're just kind of writing songs that resonate with, not being invincible 20-year-olds anymore. Life's done things. And I think the heavy music scene in general has this stigma of being serious and really a lot of attitude, a lot of bro, puff out my chest, type of stuff. And for me, and I think the rest of the band, agrees with a lot of the sentiment that I try to come across with is like, I'm just pissed off at my kids. I hate my neighbors. My back hurts and I can't find my keys most of the time. And constantly talking about gluten-free diets and stupid shit like that. And every now and then I'll write something about like, how I felt when I was in my 20s and wanted to get in a fight at a bar because someone was being a prick, or I used to be the prick. I mean, I don't know. Every now and then some of that comes out, but for the most part, my life's more it's a comedy of dumb shit, and I feel like that's more fun to write about because it means more to me. And it, some of it's silly and funny and whatever, and if people like it and get a giggle, awesome. If it resonates with people, awesome. If not, oh well. It's still heavy and loud.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of want to get into the instrumentation a little bit too. I don't know how big of gearheads everybody is in the band. It's something that kind of fascinates me as being a person that plays various instruments. So, Joe, how about for you? What kind of kit we rocking?
Got a SJC back there. Just a it's just an SJC. Is it the tour series?
Not gonna be sponsored with this.
Yeah,
I'm not looking for
stop
any
saying the
sponsorship.
fucking brand name, dude.
It's an SJC. I got a 2 different snare drums I'll swap out. I got a solid brass and a solid bronze. 8 custom cymbals, which I need to replace some of those. I want to get bigger ones. But yeah, it's nothing too fancy. I'm not so much a gear snob. I did finally. Craig was like, get yourself something nice. It's an investment. You're investing in yourself.
I did. He wanted to buy things, and I nudged him. I was like, go buy it. Go buy it. It's a good idea.
I've been playing the same drum set essentially for like, oh God, like almost 20 years. It was like it was just a Pearl Export series that I had repainted. And
I think every drummer's probably had one at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got all new hardware this year too?
Oh yeah, I bought all new DW hardware and cymbals and all matching stuff, which was nice to finally have. And I've got that SJC back there, and then I picked up this Tama Imperial Star not too long ago, just as a cheap set to play these tiny little venues like the Sinkhole that I wouldn't necessarily want to bring the SJC to. And that kit sounds great. And
it's awesome.
You said you're a drummer, Barrett?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's all about the heads. The shells will,
absolutely.
The shells will like make you look cool and whatnot. And they do, they will all sound different, but like, if you put good drum heads on not a great drum set, it's going to sound
good tuning. If you know what you're doing tuning wise.
Like a good drum set. So
yeah, I agree. The only really big differences I've ever noticed with shells in general, just like as far as just the standard by I could notice, is if you're playing like a wood kit versus like an acrylic kit, just the resonance that comes with like an acrylic kit is, I would say, even just the most general musician can probably, you know, pick out that difference. But yeah, you're right. A lot of it's in the tuning and the heads. So if somebody's buying a new kit out of the pack, make sure that you're not using most of those heads that come with those kits too. You know, you want to get a good quality head.
Yeah, I'm an Evans guy.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them.
Evans has been my go-to for years as far as drum heads goes. I can't remember the ones that are on both the kits right now, but they both have an identical set of heads. I find something that I like and I stick to it. I'm like, it's that one.
He knows what it looks like when he picks it up out of the store.
I hear you. What are we rocking on the sticks? Are we playing with like 5Bs? Something a little heavier, something a little lighter?
So I, for the longest time, played with like extreme 5Bs, you know, just like big heavy sticks. And then just recently, I ended up buying like a practice pad or something off of Craigslist. And it came with this pair of like 5A freestyles Big Firth. And that's all I've been buying. There's like this lighter, like, yeah, they break.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. You start getting smaller sticks.
Like it feels like it's so much easier to play with these 5As, and they got a little bit of extra length as opposed to like a normal stick. And yeah, it's just these 5A freestyles from Big Firth.
Beersa, how about you, sir? What are we rocking gear wise? I see an orange cat back there. Looks like maybe a 212.
Yeah,
is that what we got?
Is he wearing pants?
No, he's naked.
I think he's
just
balls out.
I have shorts on. They're just
okay. All right. Well, I mean,
they've ridden up inside me. I'm sorry.
Heavy brain. He's got his Hoochie shorts on.
He's rocking a 2-inch.
Dude, I barely have enough to make it to the power supply. I hate to say it. But no, I mean, I just like played like something super simple. I had like a 50-watt PRS Archon, which is like that was like, so I'm like a big like Will Putney guy. Like everything he did with counterparts, Knock Loose, etc. Like he did the Archon with the first Better Lovers record. So I was like, fuck it, might as well get the 50-watt. Live, I played a 212 and a 412 PPC from Orange. Sounds great. Guitar wise, I play a E2 from ESP. It's like a Eclipse with an Evertune, like full thickness. I bought it in Japan, like when I was on my honeymoon. And then live, I just play a Better Lovers, Spooky Vibes Overdrive, Swollen Pickle, Hall of Fame Reverb, the MXR carbon copy, and like an Alpha Wolf, the noise pedal, which is like modulation, like a chorus, bunch of weird shit. And then also like doing like the full like, you know, like 2-octave, 1-octave pitch shift. But that's about it. Like yeah, it's really not super like in depth, you know.
Have you seen those Will Putney what is it, tunable guitars with the pickup built into it? Overdrive pickup?
So
is it not the Pitchfork overdrive?
Yeah, it was a Pitchfork pitch shifter. Yeah. So like I tried to get that like once they were actually like released, and there was no chance. There was maybe like 3 into it. I want to own it Dunnable eventually, but dude, like, I was trying to buy like the day that it was released, and there was no chance. I'll like blindly buy anything that man tells me to. Like at that point, and it always sounds good. Yeah, for sure.
I saw them 3 times last year, and every fucking time somehow their sound got more insane. Yeah, every time that I saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Better Lovers.
Better Lovers. Yeah.
Did you see him at the Off-Broadway show?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think about Greyhaven? Because that's my shit.
I actually was pretty impressed by him. Yeah.
Dude, Greyhaven.
I actually like Foreign Hands a lot.
Foreign Hands is sick.
I thought that was very much like a throwback metalcore sound, like the days of like Ferret Records, or something of that ilk. It kind of made me think a little bit of Scarlet. I think the Foreign Hands just put out a full length last year. Yeah, it was pretty solid. It was very good.
They had like the big feature on the Dying Wish record too, which was really good.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, they opened like for Counterparts too, like at the St. Louis show. Dude, they're great. They're like the 100% metalcore, like to the face kind of band.
Definitely. Yeah. Really good. Really solid. Yeah, I saw Better Lovers at the Off-Broadway show. I saw them at Furnace Fest, and then I saw them when they played in December, which that December show was insane. That was a great lineup.
I was
good
there
mixture.
too.
Were you?
So that was actually the first show that I played with Willem. And then I got off the stage and went straight to
Nice.
Del Mar Hall. Yeah, it was fun, man. And then right after that, that's when I was like, I went to Pinup Bowl like right after that, and fucking Jordan and Greg were all there, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So what's funny about that is after they played Furnace Fest, I put up a video of them or whatever of them playing live because Greg fucking blew the fire out and shit, you know, like old school Dillinger days. And I was like, oh, dude, this is fucking sick. Like, I got some really, you know, badass clips and some pictures and shit, and I shared it. And he had commented on my post. And then I said, I can't wait to see you guys in December. And he was like, oh, what's a cool place to go hang out after the show? And I was like, well, you got all these options. Pinup Bowl used to be a spot that we used to hang out after shows, you know, down the ways a little bit. And then when they were playing live, I didn't think anything of it. And they were like, who's going to Pinup Bowl party afterwards? And I was like, oh shit, they're totally going to go to the Pinup Bowl and hang out.
You owe Barrett a beer, man.
I do, yeah, man. It was like so funny too, because like literally that day was when my Better Lovers like overdrive pedal got delivered, and like I put it on my board and I was like, fuck it, however it sounds like first show with Willem, I'm down. And I still remember like being on the stage and like Bob was like, you just got that pedal? And I was like, yeah. He's like, maybe you shouldn't use that pedal. He's like, maybe. He's like, dude, you have absolutely no idea what the fuck the dynamic is. Like, it's I don't even know what the fuck dynamic means. Like, so it's like, but it was cool. It worked out. It's a great, man. It's a great overdrive. Like overall, the entire night was great. Everybody was cool. That was like such a good set. Like for them not having a drummer too, which was crazy. But yeah. That was that sucks.
I was wondering how they were gonna do that, and you know, pretty decent from
what they play acoustic.
No, they had a pre-recorded drum track, of course.
Did they really?
Yeah. They basically they recorded his live sound, I guess, at one of the shows that he played. Will's always recording everything, anyways.
Yeah.
And so they just fed in his live drum track essentially from a previous set. So they had like the timing and everything.
Did he get injured or something?
No, his daughter got fucking cancer.
Oh,
Goose's daughter, yeah. And so they exceeded their goal. I think the goal was like $10,000 to help with the initial medical bills and stuff because she did have insurance, but they needed, you know, they had other outside costs. And of course, as we know in this stupid fucking country, insurance doesn't cover everything.
Yep.
It doesn't hardly cover anything.
Yeah.
You know,
especially something big like that, you know, it's a big life event. You know, but I think they raised over $40,000 or close to dollars, and then they always do the Blissmas now. So they raised a bunch of money there too for her. So I think as far as the finances are concerned, everything's covered, fortunately, which takes a huge burden off the family, you know?
Yeah. Why didn't they get someone to fill in? They just didn't.
It was so drastic and last minute. Like they was literally on tour when they got the call. Like the Furnace Fest weekend was like the start of their fall/winter tour. So I think they'd only been on the road for a couple weeks at that point, and then they got the call, and I think the drummer from Glassjaw tried to fill in for a show, and he just couldn't fucking play the songs.
Couldn't play it.
Yeah, that with that short a turnaround. I mean, if he had a couple weeks to practice with him, I'm sure he could. He's a good drummer. He was in Angel Dust, and I forget what other band he played in, but he's a pretty good drummer actually.
Remember that band back in the day here in St. Louis where those two guys and they recorded themselves playing not only the instruments but also they would have projectors of them playing the other instruments and they would play along. There's a band called The Livers.
No, I never saw them actually.
That sounds awesome though.
But that's kind of cool.
They opened up, we collectively opened up for some other band at the pageant in like, I don't know, 07 or 08 or something like that. And it was great because it was like two guys playing guitar and drums, I think, and the guy playing guitar was singing. And then they had like a projector of the drummer playing guitar also, and a projector of the guy who's singing and playing guitar, playing bass over here on like two scrims. Yeah. It was awesome. It was so cool.
That's sick.
Yeah. They should have done that, is all I'm saying. Better Lovers could have done a better job.
They certainly probably could have.
I just remember
with the right preparation.
Right. I just like remember like being in the crowd and I was like hammered. Because it was like right after our show. And I was like, dude, I can't believe I'm here right now. And then like I just see a blow up doll on the drum seat. They still set up a drum set.
Right.
And I see the drum up and then they had Easy Lover by Phil Collins playing, and I was like, this is fucking sick, dude.
What a good.
Yeah, they just did it in like a very like tasteful way. It was great.
Absolutely. And Jordan came out and gave a little spiel beforehand to like kind of let everybody know what was going to happen. I think they played like 2 more shows like that after the St. Louis date, but they only had like 4 or 5 left on tour, and then they had Blissmas, and the drummer from Acacia Strain ended up covering or filling in for the like whenever they actually had somebody play for those remaining dates. But Goose is back with the band. They just did a European tour, so I think I don't know the exact current situation with his daughter, but I think things are good enough that he can get back out and play. Fortunately,
That's cool.
The whole like Boys in the Well tour situation, was it the same thing? Like they didn't have a drummer, or
well that tour just started. I think this month,
did
right?
it just start?
Yeah.
Oh
so
shit!
He's back.
I feel like it's been around for forever.
Well, they announced it back in November or December?
A while ago. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's just now started. Well, hell yeah, dude. Glassjaw, Teenage Wrist is also, and then I think maybe Teenage Wrist drops off on a few dates.
Do you see Glassjaw when they came through on an off date when they were on tour with The Used in like 2015 or some shit, and they had a date and they had led in the Ready Room?
Yes.
That shit was awesome.
I was front row, dog.
Dude,
yeah, you bet your ass.
I got like phone recordings somewhere. I was watching them the other day. I was like, oh, this is the best show.
Oh, dude.
That's
insane.
a venue I miss.
Oh,
you missed that one, Joe?
The Ready Room. I miss that venue.
Yeah, I love that place.
All the best hardcore shows came through there.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of good shows there. We used to actually play at the Demo, which was next door. I mean, the Ready Room was across the street and then moved over. But yeah, man, I missed the Demo up there too. Cicero's, yeah. We were actually talking that before you got on here, Craig, about Cicero's. That used to be a awesome spot. Used to play there quite a bit and go to shows there too. Really enjoyed that. The Last Flight Home reunion show was there. That was an awesome show. What was that, like 2010, I want to say? I think it was Fister, Last Flight Home, the band I was in at the
Farmington
time.
band, right? Last Flight Home?
Yeah.
Marcus
was in that band.
Who was?
Marcus Newstead.
Oh, okay.
And the drummer is Calvin McRoy, who's from Not Waving But Drowning.
Yeah, Calvin. Yeah. Did you see Not Waving when you were down at Furnace Fest? Did you go see them?
Yes, I did. Those are my dudes. I was right there.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Jeff, their bass player, was in N-World with me. Shout out to Jeff. If you need a tattoo,
go down
to Howdy
Jeff is
downtown.
the fucking best human, dude.
Yeah, get on that waiting list.
Or just call me. I'll get you
bumped up.
Wait, is there a waiting list?
If you like come in off the street, he's high in demand.
Yeah.
I think he's like a few months out. Yeah, he's an excellent tattoo artist.
Yeah, I was like hoping you could do my knee tattoo, but like I don't even know when that would be.
You're gonna get a tattoo?
Eventually, I have to.
It's gonna be a wiener right here.
I'm gonna get Craig's name right here. His middle name.
Oh, dude, please fucking do.
It's
or maybe
like
you can,
as my
hairline
gets worse.
You can get this above your eyebrows.
You could have him tattoo you some hair.
No,
that would really solve it.
Let's go. Nice blonde locks, like wavy ones.
Oh man, maybe we can get him a weave.
Dude, that'd be dope.
Wasn't that the plan? Every show, I have a different wig.
Yeah, that is gonna. Yeah, every show you're gonna have a different wig.
Just let me deal with my baldness. Any better than fucking giving me a wig every time.
We were talking about this last weekend. I said that when it's my turn to pick the wig, I'm just gonna put a bunch of like sticky mustaches on him.
Oh man, that's good shit.
Actually, like the next show, I'm just gonna cosplay as Craig.
I love it.
Well,
I'm just gonna get a fake beard and some fake fucking beautiful locks.
I'll get me a bald cap and I'll just not move.
The next show.
Damn.
Oh man,
this podcast is getting personal. Craig, you
Deep
live
cut,
12
deep
minutes
cut.
away from me. 12 minutes and 14 seconds away. Listen, I know your address.
I'm trying again.
I'm on my way.
Well, the next show is March 9th, right? At least officially, with Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
So that is, of course, at the Red Flag. I believe that tickets are $20 in advance. So folks will have the link in the episode details for you guys to get tickets and come check out Willem DAFREND. This is a band I highly recommend you enjoying in person because these guys bring that live energy, and that's something that I'm always looking forward to in the concert going experience. And I would imagine that anybody that might be tuning into this subscribes to the same ideology. So let's get out and support these guys. We need to make sure that we keep the St. Louis music scene alive. Now, I understand it's a little easier sell because we got the mighty Darkest Hour on the bill, but hey, why not catch these guys while you're at it?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, come early, start drinking early,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we're done, we'll keep drinking with you. And then when Darkest Hour plays, we'll just start karate kicking everybody together. It'll be a blast. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Everybody gang up and goon up.
Yes, right. And don't fuck up.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun.
Well, of course, outside of where to get tickets for the show, we're going to have that in the episode details, but we're also going to have where to follow these fine gentlemen at, where to listen to their music as well. And you guys have a Bandcamp?
We do have a Bandcamp. I couldn't rattle off the address for you if you wanted it. It's probably WILLEM something or other.
No worries. We'll put that URL in here. So
yeah,
I always like to encourage folks, especially independent bands such as yourselves, to subscribe to people's Bandcamp so they know what's going on as far as musical releases, merch, that sort of stuff. More of that money goes directly to artists, especially on those first Fridays. So always want to promote the Bandcamp avenue outside of obviously if you're going to a show and you're seeing these guys in person, they'll probably have some merch, so you can support them that way as well.
All our merch is on Bandcamp. We certainly bring it to the shows as well. All of our music's on Bandcamp. I think right now we put a new shirt out for our new song Angry Sticks. It's pretty funny. It's awesome. But if you buy the shirt right now, you actually get a free digital version of our new record as well on Bandcamp.
Very cool. That's awesome. Them having a song named Angry Sticks also kind of plays into some of that tongue-in-cheek nature that we were talking about earlier with Craig's lyrics, and it's definitely a track I recommend checking out. I had a good little chuckle even whenever I read the name because I pretty much nailed exactly what I thought it was about. Yeah.
Did you catch all the references to all the death metal bands in the bridge?
Yes, I did get some of that as well, for sure. Right. Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good shit, fellas. Well, it was a pleasure getting to know you tonight. And, I think our audience will enjoy getting to know you guys a little bit better as well if they don't already. And much success to you guys going forward. Thank you for holding it down in the metalcore hemisphere in St. Louis. And always happy to promote bands in the St. Louis area on our podcast when we get the chance as well.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Hello, this is Barrett from the ATI podcast, here to talk about the MANIC Compression Group. The various podcasts that make up the MANIC Compression Group include ATI Podcast, Waxing On with R&J, Nod Narb's Closet from Ed Ozen, and It's Just Two Movies. The MANIC Compression Group is a voice for the voiceless, a platform for those dream chasers. The various creative arms of the MANIC Compression Group all have one goal in mind, and that is to bring a spotlight to underground artists and amazing artistic works. ATI podcast hosted by yours truly focuses in on interviewing rising artists, content creators, and small businesses. Waxing on with R&J, hosted by brothers Ridge and Jake Jackson, gives love to physical media. It promotes purchasing physical media as a means to support artists, album reviews, details on production and audio quality on various formats, all with the end goal in mind to give some love to some amazing artists. Outside of the physical media love, you're going to get reviews on recent concert viewing experiences, as well as local show calendars. Narb's Closet focuses in on miniature painting, the D&D world, role-play games, as well as various niches in the hobbies of 40k Warhammer, Dungeons & Dragons, and tabletop RPGs. Led by Brandon Stewart of Ed Oz Inn, Narb's Closet brings attention to the many talented people involved in the hobby. It's Just Two Movies, hosted by Danny King in a rotating guest panel. Covers just that, 2 movies. One critically acclaimed or favorably viewed, and a secondary movie probably not good, but the hope is that it is so bad that it's entertaining. Sit back, enjoy some libations to the velvety tones of Danny King and guests, with an injection of jocularity and improv comedy. The MANIC Compression Group can be found across all podcasting platforms, but the full experience can always be enjoyed on YouTube. We thank you all. Stay safe out there.